Well, good afternoon or good morning, wherever you may be. It's Matt West in Cary, North Carolina at the PowerChalk headquarters. And on behalf of Linda Paul and Jason Bauman and all the great staff at USA Diving, welcome to a very, very special session of our partnership of USA Diving and your motion analysis partner, PowerChalk. Real quick before I introduce our special guest, again, if you have not had a chance to go and sign up for your free membership at PowerChalk, it's www.powerchalk.com, and again, you have some special benefits for being a USA Diving member. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our very special guest today, live from London, the United States, U.S. Head diving coach, Olympic diving coach, and also head coach Duke University, Drew Johansen. Drew, are you with us?
I'm with you, Matt. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I know it's been an absolute whirlwind for you, and just as a very prideful American and a watcher of diving, what an exciting time. Maybe a good place to start today would be maybe you give us a little capsule of what you've experienced and what we've seen on TV and maybe what you've seen behind the scenes in London.
Well, it's been amazing. That would probably be the only word that can come to mind. You know, the facility here is unbelievable. There's 17,500 diving crazy fans here in London, and they have raised the roof off that building. And the event's kicking off with Abby and Kelsey winning a silver medal on the first day and making history in USA Diving because we have never won a synchronized medal since they've added it to the program. Was just amazing. The girls were spectacular. They stayed in their zone through the whole competition, and when they picked their heads up, they had medals around their neck, and that really energized the whole team. You know, the next day, Nick and David stepped up in one of the most amazing men's 10-meter synchronized event, front 4.5s, inward 4.5s, triple ins, just unbelievable contest, and they battled all the way through and came out with a medal themselves, getting a bronze medal, breaking a long drop for the men. And 2 days later, Christian and Troy followed up in suit in another unbelievable event where the men's Russian team on 3-meter springboard were doing pretty much the standard 10-meter list that most men do, back 3.5, reverse 3.5, inward 3.5, front 4.5. And they managed to grab the silver with that, but Christian and Troy right behind them with a great performance got medals as well. So it's been amazing.
Well, amazing. How exciting. And Drew, we're not only very, very proud of you and part of our partnership with USA Diving, but for those of you who are out there, it probably takes us back a couple of years when we first met Drew as the head diving coach at Duke University, and we were just simply introducing him to our system, and Drew adopted our PowerChalk system, uses it on the pool deck. It has really been a great asset for us, and really we owe him the introduction to our partnership with USA Diving. So Drew, we can't thank you enough, and maybe that's a good starting point, is to take us a little bit through, and again, folks, the power of our system is, as Drew knows, you can be sitting in the same room with your diver and analyze a dive. You can be on the pool deck and do that. You could be after a practice, Drew could be analyzing a dive of one of his divers and then send it to that diver and share it. Or you can do what we're doing today, which is live screen sharing, which I know Drew you were very excited about, the ability for you to connect with divers remotely. And what a great instance now while you're in London for you to be able to use this motion analysis system that's completely web-based. So maybe we go back a little bit, and Drew, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a video into the telestrator of Abby. And again, very simple to be able to upload a video, and now Drew in London is going to be seeing the same video that I'm seeing. And Drew, I'm going to go ahead and just roll the mouse wheel forward a little bit. Maybe if you want to start talking about how you might analyze this dive from the very beginning, her balance point off the board. Again, you're as good at doing this as I am as far as pushing the buttons. I don't have the expertise in the dive area, but let's talk about this dive with Abby.
Sure. And this was in Shanghai just last summer, and as you see Abby raise her arms up, she's trying to gauge how the board's moving up and down, and she's going to work in opposition with the board throughout the dive. So as she comes back up onto her toes here, she's preparing to lift her arms up as the board goes down, which you see right there. And that's really a great example of the back approach. And perfect, you drew the line. Posture is everything in this sport. Abby's trying to take everything from her fingertips to her toes, one straight line, to put all that force into one place as she unloads now and prepares to lower her center of gravity here and push the board. And if we give a pause here, maybe in one more click there, you're going to see a key point of analysis right there is first depression. Abby's just now pushing the board for the first time, and what we look for here on the back and the reverse is where her arms are in the arm swing in relation to the board when she starts her push. So if you get that arm exactly right even with her shoulder, is going to allow her to swing through as the board goes down and hold her posture throughout all that force being applied to the board. And when the arms come back up, we're once again back in opposition with the board. The board's going down, the arms are coming up, and she's going to come to a great extended position here. A lot of coaches, if we go maybe one or two more clicks forward, you're going to see this great reverse C action that a lot of coaches talk about at last point of contact, which we're at right there. And if you were to draw a line now from her hands to her toes, it's kind of more of an arc where you trace her body. Look at that. Wow. That's a great action there. And that's one of the things that I look for when I'm watching her live without the aid of a replay, is that I want to see that shape before her feet leave the board. And that's a classic position there.
Drew, we're absolutely, again, delighted and honored to have you on today and appreciate the time that you spent with us. For those of you on the other side, we could probably only imagine what your schedule is like. But take us through, if you will, as you're helping us analyze Abby's dive, how do you use motion analysis, and how does it help you communicate with your diver, whether you're standing on the pool deck or you're shoulder to shoulder, or whether you're communicating remotely? How has it helped you in your coaching?
Well, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and in the training environment, what's beautiful about PowerChalk is that you have your library access available to you. It's not just simply a replay, but I can reach into my library and pull up maybe this image of Abby doing her back 1.5 at a very high level at the World Championships in Shanghai, and maybe she's struggling with it during the training session. So I can grab an image of what's happening in the training session and literally put it into an ideal image, or when she was doing the dive at a very high level, or maybe even bring in another diver who does the dive very well. And we can kind of just sync up the two images and watch how they look alike or where they look different, and that just accelerates the learning process for the kids unbelievably. A lot of kids are visual learners.
So what Drew is alluding to, folks out there, if you notice real quick, if I draw a line over here, if you notice when I loaded the first dive, you have the ability to go out to the load B area, and this is where, again, and I could literally just type in Abby, and it will pull back up and collate Abby's dive. So to Drew's point, and again, not knowing exactly what these dives are, I may just grab one for purposes of demonstration of getting it into the telestrator, and then I'll erase that markup and then let Drew go back to work, but I can toggle back and forth between two dives. Now, obviously, this is not a back dive, but again, gives you the ability to toggle back and forth for that diver. Let's go back, Drew, if you don't mind, to the original dive. And again, let's continue on for the benefit of our viewers and get that absolute expert advice from you of how you'd be analyzing this dive.
Sure. If we were to go back a little bit to that last point of contact where we saw her reach the ideal position there, exactly. And at that point, she's going to start separating her arms, which her tendency is to separate them a little early, which she may have done there. And you're going to see her arms come around and take a circular motion back as she tries to grab her pike. So as she folds up into the pike, you can see her arms have circled back forward, and her torso has stayed stationary. Now, to the eye, it looks like it's not moving, but to the athlete, it actually feels like they're moving forward with their upper body. And that's where, again, a video analysis where the athlete can see what they're actually feeling and what's actually happening, to the eye are sometimes two different things. Now, at this point, when she's grabbing, Abby needs to point her toes, and this is one we've been fighting for since she's been 12 years old, and that's one we highlight all the time. Now, Abby is an illusionist, so as you see her finally grab into her pike and rotate past that first quarter somersault, she's going to get her feet squared away pretty quickly here. There we go. And then now at this point, Abby's going to take a look at a visual reference. And, on the 1 meter, she does this dive so well that she almost has to anticipate her visual reference, and she's already begun her come out. And the key to the come out is the shape of the body. As she opens up, if you see her back right now, it's in a round position. There's a round back in her upper back. And as she moves through the come out, as long as she can keep that back round, she can make adjustments. She can assess where she is in the dive, what she sees, and try to make an adjustment to get back to vertical. And at this point, she's going to reach back with a nice flat hand. And at first contact, when her hand first hits the water, what we're looking for is for her to be on the short side of vertical. And if you just look at that image right there, you say, oh my gosh, there's no way that went straight in. But that's accommodating for the rotation, as well as it's going to accommodate for what she's going to do underwater to create a rip entry. So her arm is on vertical, her hand is flat, and she's going to pull her body to vertical as she goes through the water. And as you see her body move through the water here, the things that the judges last see is right there, maybe one click back, you're going to see from her knee to her shin. And that's what the judges judge as vertical. And as Abby moved through the water, she came to vertical quite well there. My bet, we don't have our underwater camera in, but I bet she ducked her head there. So she got a little splashy as she went through the water. But I believe this dive probably went 7.5, 8, and was a great dive she did there in Shanghai. She ended up 6th in this competition, which was her highest individual finish in the world.
Drew, as we and again, getting your thoughtful remarks on Abby's dive and how you use motion analysis, maybe further even to the point of how do you put it into your day? How do you put time into video the athletes to work with them, whether it's on the pool deck or afterwards? Tell some of our dive coaches that are online today, how do you position it as a part of what you do in everyday practice?
Well, I can tell you this. Here at the Olympic Games, PowerChalk was a huge part of our synchronized teams winning medals. Every coach at every training session, as a team, one of us was holding the iPad, capturing that image immediately so the kids can see it, the coaches can see it. Because as a coach, you're going to watch in a synchronized training session, you're going to watch your athlete to give them the best technical advice you can to allow them to do their dive the best they can. But you can't always pay attention to the synchro. So what we're doing here in London is we're pulling up the PowerChalk and we're capturing that image, immediately looking at, so the coach can look at the individual dive, coach the diver on the dive right away, then go to the iPad, assess what's going on, synchronize, come to a consensus, and then bring that to the divers before they even climb back up the ladder for the next repetition. And our success here in London is they don't have the replay set up on the pool deck like we do at our pools at home. So PowerChalk and the iPad has been our #1 go-to in every training session.
Well, Drew, thank you very much for the kind words. And again, we have to tell everybody on the other side of this how lucky we are and fortunate we are to have met Drew Johansen. And obviously, we all feel that way now, Drew, with the success you're having in London and the success you're having with all the divers. Tell us a little bit about synchronized diving has been around a little while. Obviously, it's an absolutely compelling visual for even the layman like myself. But tell us the difference between synchronized diving and regular singular dive, as far as what's the impact it's having on the sport. Is synchronized the thing of the future? Are there going to be more people paying attention to that? Again, I'm a layman, so I'm just asking the question for our audience, but tell us a little bit about the comparison you're seeing in the two things.
Well, Synchro became an event in 2000, and the U.S. as well as even the International Olympic Committee, it's taken a little while to figure out how to put on the event. And for the U.S., and when Steve Foley arrived here in the U.S. as our high performance director, putting an emphasis and a focus on Synchro was a huge contributor to Team USA becoming a team. He put all the cards on the table and said, let's look at every athlete in the country and try to find the best pairs we can, and then get the coaches together on the same page. And like myself and Adam Soldati, we share a lot of video through the internet, through PowerChalk, as David is training up in Purdue, and Adam is, and I'm down in Durham with Nick, as well as, so we're living apart, but sharing video via the internet so we can be sure that the techniques are staying the same, the timing's staying the same, and then with our monthly trips, we're able to kind of put things together. But Synchro is definitely going to be and continue to be a very strong event for U.S. because we have so many divers in the country that can dive at such a high level. So we need to get them together, and we need to keep focused on it.
Now, folks, you on the other end, we've got one of our teammates, Ryan Magnuson, here from PowerChalk. So again, if you have questions about the PowerChalk system, I don't want to take our time away from Drew to talk more about the mechanics of it. So if you have a question about how to access the system, how to use it, again, it's a partnership with USA Diving that allows you to have a free account. Truth be known, as Drew knows, there are upgrades to be able to have some of the bells and whistles you see here, and certainly that Drew uses. But I think Drew would tell you that it's worth every penny. It's very affordable. But Drew, let's talk a little bit more about what's coming up for you in the next week or so. Tell us about what's happening with the divers. How are they getting ready to transition, I guess, more into the individual, and what your schedule looks like, and what are you looking for things to happen in the next week?
Yeah, we've finished up the Synchro program and actually started into the individual program today. Our girls have done a great job in the the preliminaries of the 3-meter. Nick doesn't dive again until the 10th, so we're just in a little bit of a rest mode right now and going to return to some heavy training tomorrow, while at the same time cheer on our team. The women's 3-meter will be executed over the next 3 days, followed by the men's 3-meter, and then back up onto the platform with the girls and the guys. The team is really bonded, and the staff is doing a great job working together to give all the support we can to Team USA. And there's a great energy in the village. You know, we've got 3 events and 3 medals so far, and we're looking forward to just staying focused on the process and keep doing the things that have led to success.
Well, I tell you, folks, again, we are absolutely delighted to have Drew with us today. And Drew, just to let you know, we've been faithful watchers, all of us. I'm sure NBC, from a rating standpoint, has seen dramatic increases because the outcomes have been so compelling. And it's interesting you bring up your schedule around going and watching the other events. Tell us, just to, you know, for those of us who have not been there, leave the diving piece out. Personally, how's it been for you to be able to watch some of the greatest athletes on the planet compete? I know you were I don't know if you had a chance to see any of the gymnastics or any of the other sports, but tell us what that's been like. Have you had a chance to see the other sports?
I haven't been out to any of the other venues yet, although some of the divers have gotten out there. I will tell you this, the opening ceremonies was unbelievable. I was fortunate enough to march, and I found my way right next to the basketball team, so I got to hang out with Kobe and LeBron as we marched in, which was, you know, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. The village is unbelievable, and you know, the atmosphere in the village, not just with Team USA, but there's just a great buzz, and it's an amazing event.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Drew Johansen has been our guest today. Drew, I know that you've given us a great deal of time today based on your calendar. Want to let you know, in case you miss it, it's 95 to 100 degrees in North Carolina, so I'm sure that we'll keep it hot for you when you come back. But for now, on behalf of all of us here, both at PowerChalk and USA Diving, want to let everybody know how grateful we are to you. Best of luck the rest of the day and the rest of the time in London. You know we'll be watching. And again, for you folks at home, you heard it from Drew Johansen today. Go sign on for your free account and start using PowerChalk with your divers. It'll make a compelling difference. And again, Drew, thank you so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it.
Matt, thank you. I want to wish luck to all the junior divers that are competing now and starting the junior championships in Greensboro, and I look forward to getting home soon and being at the senior nationals to see everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Drew Johansen, thanks for joining us. Again, if you have any questions about our system, you can type in a question to Ryan, info@powerchalk.com, or you can certainly call us at area code 919-469-0180. We're here to help you. And again, we're delighted to have Drew online with us today. That's going to do it from Cary, North Carolina. I'm Matt West with PowerChalk, and on behalf of Drew Johansen and everyone from USA Diving, have a great weekend. Go USA.
All right.
Thanks, Drew.
Okay.